Do not fear to attempt. This is as obvious as it sounds. You should not fear to attempt anything. If you want to do something, you should just do it. Building up the courage to do something, whether it would be to talk to a beautiful girl or share your answer with the class, is much harder than doing the thing itself. In a simpler term, you don't have the fear of the scenario, you have the fear of the fear itself of the scenario. This fear to attempt stems from a fear of rejection. You are afraid of someone saying no to you because it makes the situation awkward, and you want to avoid placing yourself in these unpleasant situations and avoid taking the risk. I'll discuss this through a story. Let's say you're in a public setting, okay? Not something like walking down the street, something more like a cafe. You go here every day. Every morning you go to this cafe because you like spending time there and it's calm and relaxing for you. As you sip on your drink, a beautiful woman enters the cafe and orders her drink. Alright? She is the most beautiful woman you have ever seen. You have never seen someone as beautiful as her. She is stunning, breathtaking, gorgeous. It's unbelievable. We're talking a straight up 110 out of 10. You can't believe your eyes. You stare at her for a while, then you contemplate going up to her and talking to her, but you have this thought in your subconscious just saying, you're not good enough. She won't like you. You don't have a chance. You are sabotaging yourself. Now that you have told yourself these things, you will go in with the mindset of you're not good enough and you will actually not be good enough. Like, oh, she's gonna say no and that's gonna be really embarrassing. You should even put yourself in such a situation. Imagine what she will think of you afterwards. All those just thoughts. You keep having those thoughts, those self-deprecating thoughts. You are overthinking whether to approach a girl or not. Just fucking approach her, bro. Do you keep staring at her with eyes full of nothing but pure lust and admiration? Let me ask you a question. If you were that girl and you saw someone just staring at you with nothing but pure lust and admiration, would you give that guy a chance? Or would you prefer having the more confident man who saw you and went up to you and had no problem talking to you, or a problem with anything really? You don't realize it, but you're being a creep. By doing what you're doing, you're only making her more uncomfortable. Now, I want to go over the possible scenarios of what could happen. Alright? So, scenario number one, you do not approach her. You don't approach her. You keep staring at her, you admire her beauty, and you envision a future where they're together. She doesn't even notice you. You wish you could just go up to her and you pretend to go to the bathroom just to walk by her and see what she's doing. Maybe I can get a glimpse of what she's doing on her phone so that I could have something to talk about. Like, bro, do you think that everything you could talk about, out of everything you could possibly talk about, the thing on her phone will be the only thing that you can talk about? And it's probably something you don't even know anything about. Probably a beauty video or something you have never even thought of. You have convinced yourself you have nothing to talk about. Let's be honest here. Do you really think that thing on her phone is the only thing that you can talk to her about? Like, the only thing? That's bothering me a lot for some reason. Like, some guys actually do that. Like, the thing on her phone is not the only thing you can talk about. You can just talk about anything. Like, there's a lot in common, bro, but you don't know what's in common yet. But there's a lot. She finishes her drink, gets up, and goes on about her day, not knowing you ever existed, bro. Not knowing you ever existed. She's walking out, and you begin to panic, knowing, not thinking, but knowing you won't ever see her again. And you are losing the love of your life, who isn't even aware of your existence. She walks out, and you sit there contemplating whether to go up to her. It's now or never, you think to yourself. But you manage to convince yourself that she's gone. Like, she's out of the cafe and everything. She's already ordering a taxi or getting into a car or something. And you're just sitting there with a weird mix of emotions. You're pissed at yourself for not trying, and you keep beating yourself over it for days on end. You're at work and you can't help but think about her. You think about how you didn't even have the balls to go up to another human being and strike up a conversation. Now you are stuck in the feeling of nothing but pure disappointment. You have failed to get the girl, is all you think to yourself. You begin to imagine all the possible scenarios and how better you'd be feeling if you had just gone up to her. But you can't do that now. You blew it away when you had the chance. Good job, buddy. You stayed comfortable, but at what cost? Okay, now, scenario number two. You are staring at her with a bit of confidence in you. You are building up the courage slowly but surely to go up to her, and it's harder than you think. The self deprecating thoughts start to form. You begin to think, I'm not good enough, she will reject me, but you want to do it anyways. So you are used to these things, you know? You have learned to use them as motivation to silence the subconscious part of your brain that's been trying to convince you that you're something that you're not. Like you use the hey, I'm not good enough, she will reject me. You're like, no, I am good enough, she will not reject me. You use that to your advantage, bro. Use that to push yourself. So you fight those thoughts. You know they aren't true. You know they can't hurt you as much as not trying can. You have been there before, and that's what pushes you to go up and just do it. You shut off your brain, you ignore those thoughts and all of the fears forming along with it. As you walk towards her, you still have this fear inside of you. You try to look as confident as you can and you go on autopilot and you just go with the flow. When you finally go up to her, you ask her, is that seat taken? She looks at you for a second and says no. You keep trying to make conversations about the things you're interested in, but she's just giving you minimal answers and she just doesn't look interested. You think she is hooked, but she isn't. When the time finally comes, she says she has to leave and she's getting up. You ask her for a number and if she would like to go out somewhere, sometime, like at the park or here again. She simply replies no and leaves in a rush. You sit there on the chair, looking around, hoping nobody saw that, but frankly, nobody could care less. You don't feel bad for being rejected. You feel sort of happy, you know? You feel sort of confident, and you realize you aren't scared of the rejection. You're scared of the interaction. Despite being rejected, you don't feel dejected. You feel proud of yourself for being this confident man who just went up to her and had no problem and kept on talking and talking. You are happy with yourself. You don't think much of the interaction and you begin to get this urge to do it again and again. You begin realizing how easy talking to people actually is and how positively it can impact your self confidence and self image. You are satisfied. Now, scenario number three. You stare at her with full confidence. You feel unshakable. You feel indestructible. You go up to her as if she knows you from somewhere. You go to her with not much thought in your head. You begin to think to yourself, this is great, as you speak. You talk with full confidence. That confidence plays on your mind. Those thoughts can affect you without you actually knowing it. If you believe that you are confident, you'll act like it. If your walk changes, your persona changes, the aura around you is just much more positive and uplifting, and it makes people want to stick around. You ask her, is this seat taken? She says no. You sit across from her, good posture, full confidence, and everything. You notice she put her phone down and she's showing total interest in you. You chat about random stuff, and she actually puts in work to keep the conversation going. You enter a flow state. You ignore those thoughts, whether they are positive or negative, and focus all of your attention on her and on becoming present in the moment. You become present, like fully present in the moment. Like you're giving her your undivided attention, and that only attracts her more. You talk about your interests, and she talks about hers. Time flies, and an hour or two pass without you even noticing. You are in a rush, and you ask her if she wants to do something again, like this, maybe in a park or in a cafe again. She agrees without second thought, and she gives you her number. You walk out of that cafe feeling confident, happy, and satisfied with yourself. You have accomplished something that most men wouldn't even imagine doing. You got the number. You meet up with her a couple more times, and before you know it, you're dating. You manage to date the girl just by going up to her and talking at a cafe. From here on out, it's your decision that will change what's happening. But you did it. You got the stunning girl you saw at the cafe. You feel proud of yourself for not only having the confidence to go up to her and strike a conversation, but for also getting the girl. You have done it. Now, last but not least, the fourth scenario. You are staring at her with full confidence. You feel unshakable and indestructible. You go up to her as if she knows you from somewhere. And without much thought, you begin to think to yourself, this is great, as you speak. You talk with full confidence. That confidence plays on your mind. Those thoughts affect you without you actually knowing it. If you believe that you're confident, you'll act like it. Your walk changes, persona, and the aura around you is just more positive and uplifting, and it makes people want to stick around. You ask her, is this seat taken? She says no, and you sit across from her, good posture, full confidence, and everything. You notice she is still on her phone. She doesn't look or seem bothered by your presence, but she doesn't seem like she likes your presence either. She is neutral to the whole thing and she doesn't give you much attention. Despite your endless efforts to keep the conversation going, she keeps giving you no reply responses, which are basically empty or unsatisfactory responses like no or okay, that are mostly used to like shut down a conversation while still trying to appear to show interest. You start to get fed up and begin to convince yourself to keep going, knowing that you'll regret it if you just walked out. You keep trying to keep the conversation going, but it's going nowhere and she isn't helping. So you look at the time and you say, I have to go now. Do you want to do this again another time? She says no, you nod your head and you leave. You have failed to get the woman, but you don't take that rejection personally. You know that rejection isn't fatal, and you have not been affected by it. You are glad you took your chance with her. Despite not getting the girl, you feel happy. You know there are other fish in the sea, and if there's anyone missing out, it's her. You are happy. Now tell me, which one of those options do you prefer? You certainly won't want to end up with the first one, would you? Then just go talk to her, bro. You either get her or you don't. But at the very least, you try. You grow from rejection. Do you think the confident people in 3 and 4 were born like that? Like they just felt unshakable, indestructible. Do you think they are born like that? Of course, they're not born like that. What are you, stupid? They went through the second and the first phase until they built up the confidence necessary to get the girl and talk to her. You should realize this is going to sound harsh, but you are nothing. If you approached her and you tried, nobody cares. Like nobody cares so much about you that they remember that one moment you got rejected. Maybe you will forget about it after, let's say, 5 months or so. You know I heard something I heard that just stuck with me to this day. It goes like this: you miss every opportunity you don't take. That pushed me to do everything I want because life is all about opportunities and how you respond to them. Taking the opportunity is a necessary step to having a far more enjoyable life. Now, not going for it and actually not doing will give you worse results than if you did. You are nothing, okay? And nobody will leave everything that they have going on in their life to think about you and what you did and how you got rejected. Nobody's going to do that. But because everyone is just in their own world, not even the girl will think about it. And even if she did, you might not see her again in your entire life. So going for it is always worth it. Don't forget that. So the next time you see a cute girl out on the street, take your chance, bro. Because this is an opportunity that will come once in a lifetime. And even if you don't take it, you will sit there regretting not taking it. So take as many opportunities as you can, bro. And don't be afraid to do so.